So you've obviously probably seen the title of this video, but I want you guys to take a second, including myself, to imagine the Flash without Cisco Ramon. It's definitely not the same show, and I want to talk about this in this video. How's it going, species? Welcome to a brand new Flash video. So today we are talking about the rumor. I do want to say rumor. I will get onto the website in a second about Cisco Ramon, Carlos. I can't remember the second name right now. Leaving the Flash, and oh man, I don't ever want to talk about stuff like this, but I think it's time we have to. I do want to talk about a possibility of maybe other actors. Or some of the other cast leaving the Flash, but that's more of a loose rumor compared to the Cisco rumor. Probably talk about that more towards the ending section of this video. But yeah, like, man, I do not want this to happen if this is the case. But of course, you may be wondering, Boba, where the hell is this coming from? Well, first of all, before I get into the article or whatever, it's very brief. But you probably, and I've mentioned this in multiple reviews, I think. Cisco this season has kind of been slightly on like the back step, where everyone else has been on the front, courtside seats, so to speak. And this has been prominent through, Cisco's just, taking a day off to recover from the dagger injury on his hand. Oh, Cisco is, he's gone to do this in a lab for the metahuman cure, and blah, 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 blah. So it's been a bit like, okay, you can definitely ask for time off or something. They could write that into an episode, but it's happened multiple times now, and people are theorizing left, right, and center. Oh, okay, are they kind of low-key preparing the audience to, not have a massive shock as of when they put in that storyline in the episode? Okay, I'm leaving, blah, 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 blah. And that is definitely one way of doing it. And, they wouldn't tell the audience maybe right away, oh yeah, by the way, Cisco is leaving this season. That'd be like, oh crap, really bad. People will go mad. They still will when it happens, including myself. But what I'm trying to say is if you kind of subtly throughout the season make his presence a little less than what it was in previous seasons, you're slightly more subconsciously prepared to say goodbye to that character, because you've been used to almost a whole year of them not being as prominent as what you were used to in previous seasons. So the article that I'm on about, guys, and initially I saw it on comicbook.com, but they were just referencing another article. So the original source of this, I believe, is We Got This Covered. And the title of the headline is Carlos Valdez may be leaving the Flash after season 5. Now this is like a few days old, but I still wanted to make a video about it because, man, I do have quite a few thoughts about it, and I'm sure, I really want to encourage you guys to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Feel free to comment anytime during this video, based on any thoughts I might have. So we've got some bad news for fans of The Flash today, as one beloved member of the cast of the long-running CW show might be leaving this series after its 5th season. As you may have guessed from the headline, we're talking about Carlos Valdez, who plays Cisco Ramon /Vibe. So Valdez has been a regular on The Flash. Once again, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that second name. Ever since it began, even being introduced in Arrow Season 2 like Barry Allen and Caitlin Snow were. However, we've got this covered as learned today that the actor wants to move on to new pastures and plans to leave the show once this season's done. The upside is that the likeliest way his exit would be handled is Cisco simply being written out rather than finding himself being killed off, which would leave the door open for him to return for the odd guest appearance, perhaps, like in Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is something I definitely want to talk about. What's more, our source tells us that he's pretty confident in his intel. He can't confirm it 100% yet, so there may be a chance that Valdez remains on the show after all. Essentially, I'm going to skip the rest of that. That is the rumor, and I do want to reiterate, rumor, for all we know, this could be a load of bullshit, but, there are other parts, other, specific parts, like we've already spoke about, the absence throughout the season, noticeable absence compared to previous seasons, his response to press when he's asked about leaving the show, if I remember correctly, Canada Grass asked, would he be staying or something like that. And he just replied, oh, that's not up to me, like, that's the writers. I'm paraphrasing there. But, if you were to stay on the show, you would give a response of, oh, yeah, man, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, if the writers want to kill me off or something, then I can't control that. But I would personally say, oh, yeah, man, like, I love this role, something like that. You wouldn't just respond, I don't know, man. Do you know what I mean? That was, like, another thing. And then there's the rumors and rumors just circulating. So, what do I think about this? Cisco is one of my favorite characters on The Flash, and it won't be the same without him. It really won't. And what do I think of the storyline? Let's just assume that he is leaving. So let me reiterate that. Assuming he is leaving, they will probably use the metahuman cure as that. And I don't really like that. I really do feel, and I've spoke about other people about this storyline, Cisco suddenly being like, oh, I don't want to be a metahuman anymore, and I'm putting this quite bluntly, you know, obviously it's had more development than that, and wanting to use a cure potentially, because they've definitely poked around that area, is definitely forced, you know, because he has enjoyed being Vibe, and now they're trying to make it seem like, oh, you know, our Vibe is all this and that, and it's maybe a bit too much, and, you know, I just want to be Cisco again. When I started studying on the cure or doing this about Cicada, I felt like myself again. It's like, no, dude, that feels kind of forced writing, because, as I just said, he has enjoyed being Vibe. At first, the whole story was about him not wanting the powers, and then he kind of embraced and saw the potential and the heroic ability he had in having the Vibe powers. And now it's like, oh, I don't necessarily want to be Vibe anymore. So you can kind of really get, like, why are they doing this? Why are they maybe doing this? Well, because he might be leaving. He might not. Then if that's the case and this is completely false and they're doing that storyline, as I said, it doesn't make sense in the first place. It makes more sense, but doesn't make sense if he's leaving, because at least they can use something so he leaves, you know, as a human to lead a normal life. But, you know, other than that, if you take that away and he is still on the show, it is pretty silly, because it's like, oh, Cisco, who loves working with Team Flash, who he actually learned to adore his powers and stuff like that, all of a sudden just walks off into the distance with the metahuman cure. But, you know, we're 5 seasons into The Flash now, and, you know, when you think about cast members leaving, and this isn't unusual. I mean, we had, like, Katie Cassidy leaving Arrow Season 4, if I remember correctly. We've had, you know, new Team Arrow members, and I don't know why. Maybe The Flash is more important to me back then. But I didn't really particularly care a massive great deal when Katie Cassidy left, etc., etc. But when it comes to Carlos leaving The Flash, man, it's just, he is such a central figure in terms of the comedic relief, and he also balances that with serious acting as well. Bounces off Tom Cavanaugh. Those two are such a dynamic, brilliant duo throughout the seasons that there's always wells with a Cisco, right? And now, let's say, you know, assuming he does leave, Cisco leaves, man, it won't be the same. It won't be the same anymore. Now, yes, we will get over it, I'm sure. Assuming the show gets better with better writing, say what you will about season 5, season 4, say what you will about all that. Assuming the show is on point with everything else, we will recover. We will probably have another character inserted to kind of fill Cisco's shoes, not try to copy him. But do you know what I mean? For example, I cannot remember. Is it Ryan Choi? I can't remember off the top of my head. They teased that the Flash suit in the future wasn't actually created by Cisco. So you could argue easily that, oh, when they mentioned that little Easter egg, I think it was in episode 1 or 2, that, you know, this has been planned for quite a while. And that if he is leaving, then of course, they've definitely been talking about this for quite a long time. So yeah, you could argue that might have been the first little Easter egg he stepped into. Oh, that might mean that Cisco wasn't around in the future. So yeah, maybe Ryan Choi, if that is who I'm remembering it to be, makes a suit, then yeah, it makes sense Cisco left, right? But you know, really, if he wanted to stay on the show, it would have been Cisco who probably made it. Now, I'm not pretending to know the actor at all, Carlos Valdez, but from what I know, he is, you know, he does do lots of other avenues of stuff, like he's into music. He might be more of like a theater nerd kind of thing compared to TV shows. He might just be on the show for 5 years and be like, you know, I want to do something else, concentrate on this. I get that. Completely fine. You know, I don't have a problem with that at all. It's just he's going to be sorely missed. And then this is where I want to segue into other things. Some people are saying, and there's, you know, other rumors on the interwebs that, oh, what if other people are leaving potentially as well? And it very well might kind of be like a new Team Arrow thing, you know, in was it season 5? I think it was. And at first, I hated that. I really didn't like Wild Dog. I didn't like the new characters that much at all, but now I feel differently. So, you know, change for people, no matter what, is really hard. You don't like it, me included. I'm not trying to preach or anything right now, but I'm just saying, let's say we do get 2 new characters, for instance, after, let's say, Cisco or Tom Cavanaugh or Daniel Panabaker both leave, then having a new team will feel weird, but I think, you know, we'll learn to love them over time. Hopefully. Now, as for the rumors surrounding Tom Cavanaugh, don't even get me started if he leaves, but I would understand more in the case compared to Carlos, you know, Cisco leaving, because, you know, Tom Cavanaugh has originally just signed on to play like the Reverse Flash, right? Wells Bard in season 1, but he's gone above and beyond, if you think about it, with what they have probably evolved to on the show more than they ever initially thought of, you know, ever approaching. And that is, so Wells Bard in season 1, Harry in season 2, HR in season 3, Harry again in season 4, and then that's on top of playing all the other Wacky Wells cameo appearances, and that's on top of of maintaining a Wells-Abad reverse Flash throughout those seasons as well. And now he is Sherlock Wells. You can kind of understand, and personally, people like me don't care. We always want to see another Wells, or we always want Tom Cavanaugh on the show in one way or another. But to him, for example, it might also feel like, okay, I've done all of this now. Maybe I am oversaturating my presence on the show. I don't know. That's just, you know, a quick thought from me, trying to put myself in the mind of maybe him. Maybe he wants to do other work. He thinks, am I really going to be another Wells next season and in season 7? Do you know what I mean? So I kind of get that. So I really hope this is completely invented. I'm pretty sure there's no concrete stuff for Tom Cavanaugh leaving at the minute, but I just wanted to chuck that in there. But you know, you never know. But this is really about Cisco. I think I've heard something about Daniel Panabaker possibly leaving, but I do not know too much about that. I'm pretty sure, as I said, Cisco is the strongest rumor at the minute. But I think, you know, those other ideas were just conjured from, okay, let's think about other people leaving. Oh wait, it actually would make sense for maybe if Tom Cavanaugh wanted to leave. So I get why people may be thinking that. If he does leave, I think I honestly would have preferred something as random as him keeping his powers. And just, I don't know, going off with Gypsy on her Earth or something. Just because I really don't like the whole story of he's got to inject a cure into himself and not be Vibe anymore. And completely walk away from the techie job that is Star Labs and being involved with the superhero of the Flash. Like, honestly, if you are a fan and you know the character, you just feel like that is completely not what he would want to do. Walk off into the sunset with a coffee and just be like, see you, Team Flash, bye. That is not a Cisco. So, you know, for all I know, they might pull a card that might be like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool how he left. But I don't know. Then, you know, you've got Crisis on Infinite Earths. If he does, as I said, assuming he leaves this season, you know, I bet he will, as they kind of point out here, like come back for reoccurring roles. Be cool, as I said, if he keeps his powers, because that could be handy. You know, he might just not want to use his powers. That could be a reason for leaving, but it still keeps them just in case. But, you know, we've got Crisis on Infinite Earths, and how mad would it be if he comes back for that and he sacrifices himself, thus killing himself off, because, you know, how much longer is the Flash going to go on for anyway? I mean, yes, I think it could easily go to season 8, but season 9 and 10 are questionable at this point. Yes, this is quite far-reaching talking and discussing this, but yeah, I'm just saying, killing him off in Crisis on Infinite Earths would suck, but also, you know, wouldn't matter in terms of, oh, I really wanted to see him reoccur in season 8 and 9. Well, we don't even know if we're going to get that yet. But other than that, I would just love to know what you think of this anyway. Do you believe that he could be leaving? Let's assume this rumor is true. How do you feel about probably the obvious storyline that they're most likely going to go with, and that is him kind of like maybe being cured of his metahuman powers? Once again, I'm not a fan of that. I think it is just so actually opposite to what Cisco is like. And what do you think of him just leaving behind Wells, Barry Allen, The Flash, working in Star Labs? And that's also another thing I can't really get my head over. Unless, yeah, he really wanted to live another life with Gypsy on another Earth. But do you know what I mean? I just can't really wrap my head around it. I guess no matter what, when you kind of have a character leaving like this, you know, it's kind of hard to come up with the writing of it, especially when you've wrote him so in love with being, you know, a smart genius Vibe. I guess no matter what you come up with, it's going to kind of suck. I don't know. But that is basically all of my thoughts on it, guys. So yeah, like this video if you did enjoy it. Once again, really want to know your thoughts, so I definitely encourage you to start that conversation down in the comments below. I do read every comment. Subscribe to this channel if you're brand new and you want to see more Flash videos just like this. Links as always are in the description down below. Join my Discord server where you can talk with me directly there. I do have a merch shop. I do have Patreon where you can support me further. But other than that, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I hope Cisco isn't leaving, and I'll see you speedsters in the next video. Goodbye.